Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan, two giants who shook the foundations of the world as they forged empires whose echoes still resonate today. 1. Alexander the Great, the unmatched strategist, spread the fire of conquest from Macedonia to the edges of the known world. The other, Genghis Khan, the relentless conqueror of the steppes, made his name thunder across the endless lands of Asia. But who was the greatest? Who was the most significant conqueror in history? Prepare for an epic journey as we pit these titans against each other in a battle of legends. Although comparing historical figures is complex, we will strive to do so with rigor and objectivity, defining clear and rational criteria for a fair and balanced evaluation. So, before we dive into this comparison, let's briefly explore the history of these two contenders. Genghis Khan, born as Temujin in the vast and wild Mongolian steppe of the 12th century, rose from adversity to unify the scattered Mongol tribes under his leadership. With incomparable charisma and brilliant military talent, he launched a series of fierce campaigns that expanded the Mongol Empire from the eastern edges of Asia to the gates of Europe. Alexander the Great, son of the Macedonian king Philip II, was born in 356 BC in Pella, the capital of Macedonia. Educated in his youth by the philosopher Aristotle, he ascended to the throne at the age of 20. With indomitable courage and exceptional tactical acumen, he expanded the Macedonian Empire from Greece to seemingly unreachable limits, conquering vast territories and leaving an indelible mark on world history. With that said, let's begin with the first of our 6 categories. In terms of conquered territory, Alexander the Great seized an impressive area from Greece to India, covering about 5.2 million square kilometers. However, this figure pales in comparison to Genghis Khan, who conquered vast lands from the Mongolian plains to Eastern Europe, spanning 12 million square kilometers. Remarkably, after Genghis Khan's death, the Mongol Empire continued to expand, reaching 24 million square kilometers, making it the largest contiguous empire in history. To put this in perspective, 17.81% of the planet's land surface belonged to the Mongol Empire. It's worth noting that the premature death of Alexander the Great at 32 limited the potential expansion of his empire, unlike Genghis Khan, who died at an older age and had more time to extend his domains. Although it is tempting to speculate on what Alexander might have achieved with more time, such speculation remains conjectural. In conclusion, while both conquerors achieved extraordinary feats in territorial expansion, Genghis Khan clearly surpasses Alexander in this regard. The cultural impact and integration in the territories conquered by both Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great were significant, though they manifested differently for each. Genghis Khan implemented a policy of religious and cultural tolerance across his extensive empire, promoting the integration of various ethnicities and beliefs within his administration. This approach not only facilitated the exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices, but also contributed to the flourishing of Mongolian civilization and the establishment of a vast trade and cultural network along the Silk Road. Conversely, Alexander the Great advanced a policy of Hellenization in his conquered lands, promoting the spread of Greek culture, language, and institutions across his empire. However, he also allowed the subjugated peoples to maintain their religious practices. This policy led to an enhanced integration of Greek, Persian, and Egyptian cultures, among others, forging a cosmopolitan empire that blended elements from diverse cultures under his rule. Given the profound and unique impacts of each leader's approach, it is challenging to declare a definitive winner in this category, making a technical tie perhaps the fairest outcome. Both Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great showcased exceptional military and strategic prowess, cementing their status as legendary figures. Genghis Khan demonstrated mastery in mobile warfare, deftly coordinating expansive cavalry maneuvers that leveraged the speed and agility of his formidable mounted archers. By instituting a merit-based system within his army, a departure from the previous aristocratic hierarchy, he cultivated trust and loyalty among his soldiers, thereby forging a formidable force. Additionally, he capitalized on the expertise of conquered peoples, integrating Persian and Chinese engineers into his army, proving invaluable particularly during sieges. Meanwhile, Alexander the Great stood out for his audacity, tactical brilliance on the battlefield, and knack for inspiring troops in the face of adversity. Employing masterful tactics like those displayed at the Battle of Gaugamela, where he strategically created a breach in the enemy lines through an impressive maneuver, he effectively countered forces significantly outnumbering his own. Furthermore, unlike Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great never tasted defeat in battle. In conclusion, while both were military geniuses, Alexander the Great's tactical brilliance and unbeaten record against vastly superior foes give him the edge over Genghis Khan in this category. The legacies of Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great's conquests are distinguished by their approaches to governing their vast empires. Genghis Khan's exceptional administrative abilities were instrumental in establishing an efficient system that fostered consistency and cohesion throughout the Mongol Empire. This, among other factors, contributed to the empire's sustained expansion even after the Great Khan's passing. Noteworthy among his initiatives was the implementation of the Yasa, a comprehensive set of laws governing Mongol society. Besides, his policy of religious tolerance promoted the integration of diverse cultures, stimulating exchange and prosperity, ultimately ushering in a period of stability known as the Pax Mongolica. Moreover, Genghis instituted an elaborate communication and logistics network, epitomized by the renowned postal system known as the Yam. With multiple stations for horse messengers, this network facilitated rapid information transmission and military mobilization across the empire. In contrast, while Alexander the Great's legacy includes impressive territorial expansion and the dissemination of Greek culture, it ultimately fell short in securing the longevity of his empire. This can be attributed, in part, to Alexander's failure to designate a clear heir prior to his death, and his inability to establish a robust administrative framework capable of ensuring lasting unity and stability. Consequently, upon his passing, his vast empire swiftly fragmented into a succession of different kingdoms, leading to internal strife and the erosion of both political and cultural cohesion. Therefore, despite the Mongol Empire's shorter duration compared to others like the Roman Empire, it still outlasted Alexander the Great's, making Genghis Khan the victor in this category. In terms of the economy, Genghis Khan facilitated unprecedented trade between the East and the West. His policy of religious tolerance and the security established along trade routes under the Mongol Empire revitalized the Silk Road, enabling a steady flow of goods, technologies, and knowledge between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. This economic integration spurred the development of local markets and urbanization, leading to a period of prosperity and technological advancement across Eurasia. Conversely, Alexander the Great, by expanding the Macedonian Empire and founding cities throughout his conquests, spread Greek culture and economic practices, including the monetization of the economy and the promotion of trade. The Hellenization of vast regions stimulated cultural and economic exchange, merging local economies with Greek commercial practices and fostering economic cohesion throughout the Mediterranean and Asia Minor. Nevertheless, not everything was positive, as both leaders frequently resorted to looting conquered populations. In any case, Genghis Khan's legacy, which includes the creation of large-scale commercial infrastructure and the promotion of security and stability along trade routes, had a more enduring influence on global economic development than Alexander's contributions, which, although transformative, were primarily focused on spreading Greek culture and economic practices. Therefore, Genghis Khan emerges as the victor in this category. Finally, let's return to the beginning, their origins. In reality, this category is different from the others, as it wouldn't be fair to evaluate the protagonists based on something they had no control over. For this reason, we won't add it to the score, but its analysis is crucial for understanding the challenges each one faced. Genghis Khan was born into a nomadic tribe in Mongolia. He was illiterate, and although his father was a tribal leader, he was poisoned when Genghis was still a child, leading their tribe to abandon Genghis, his mother, and his siblings. However, despite starting from an impoverished and extremely adverse childhood, Genghis displayed remarkable resilience and tenacity, overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles to become the founder of the largest contiguous empire in history. In contrast, Alexander the Great received an exquisite education, including tutoring by the great philosopher Aristotle, and inherited from his father, King Philip II of Macedonia, a powerful kingdom and a well-prepared army, providing him with a solid foundation for his future conquests. Consequently, considering their origins, Genghis Khan's achievements exhibit exceptional merit, as he forged his own destiny from much more unfavorable circumstances. Thus, after comparing these two historical titans, Genghis Khan stands out as the victor. Recognizing that both leaders were extraordinary conquerors, the impact of Genghis Khan was more profound and enduring, leaving behind a legacy that shines with unparalleled intensity. As historian Jack Weatherford stated, Alexander the Great was a flash, Genghis Khan, a tsunami.